Hey guys, I'm Sneha and you are watching my channel Book Junction. Welcome to today's video. So in today's video, I'm going to recommend you some really interesting books that are also beginner friendly. Personally, I feel that reading is one of the best habits to inculcate because it teaches you creativity, art, history, culture and so much more. Reading also helps you to understand and learn a language, be it English, Hindi, Bangla or any other regional language for that matter. So in a way, reading enhances your speech and your overall grip on a language. Here I want to introduce you to Pratilipi, which is India's largest digital platform that is connecting readers and writers in 12 different languages. They have Hindi, Bangla, Odia, Marathi, Malayalam, Punjabi and so many other regional languages. You can discover thousands of stories, poems, novels, magazines, essays, etc. for absolutely free. Not only that, you can also explore stories in various different genres. I would say my favorite is the love stories in Hindi because they are just so exciting and engaging that I can't really put down the app when I'm reading the stories. There is this particular series called Man Marziyan, which is like really romantic and it has daily episodes, so I keep waiting for the next episode to come up so that I can read and get to know what happens next. Also, anyone can write on this platform. Even I'm thinking about writing a story which has been in my mind for a really long time, so I'm kind of nervous about it, but let's see how it goes. So do check out the Pratilipi app and let me know what do you think about it in the comment section, and you will find the link to download the Pratilipi app in the description box, so definitely check that out. Alright, so now let's move on to the recommendations, and I've tried to incorporate different genres and I've also tried that the books are a little different, unique and just uncommon, so you are not going to find the typical The Fault in Our Stars and Harry Potter in this list. I've tried to make it a little bit unique and different. So the first book that I am going to recommend is Dear Evan Hansen. This is the novel and I got this novel in my TBB box. So the book Dear Evan Hansen is about a boy named Evan Hansen who feels very left out and who is someone who is not really very close to anyone, and he just feels like he's alone in this world, and that's his main problem. But eventually, because of certain events that I don't want to disclose, otherwise it will be a spoiler, so because of certain events he becomes really close to a family and he becomes sort of a part of their family, and because of this he also gets really close to this girl on whom he had a huge crush. So eventually, as the story continues, so many weird events unfold and the story is really funny. It's also very deep and very intense. So overall, I feel like this book has every element that makes it very interesting. Like when I was reading this book, I was hooked. I wanted to know what is going to happen in the end. So it definitely has that thrill. It is also a YA book, so you can totally relate with this book, and the language is also very simple. When I say simple, I mean the way people usually interact and talk to one another. So yes, overall I feel like this book is definitely ideal for you if you are a beginner and if you haven't read that many books. This book is for you. The next book that I want to recommend you is Everything by Nicola Yoon, and this is what the book looks like. It's beautiful, like the cover is absolutely gorgeous and the story is definitely just as beautiful. It's a really heartwarming story. So the book is about this girl Maddie who is allergic to the world, as in she has this very rare disease where she doesn't really have this immunity system, so she can get allergies and she can catch sickness very easily, and which is like a normal cold and cough can be really dreadful for her. So that's the thing, and there are a lot more details to her disease which you will get to know when you read the book. The name of the disease itself is very big, so I don't really remember it. So because of her rare illness, she cannot go out and she is homeschooled and she always stays indoors, and if someone from outside comes, they have to be sanitized and all of that. Now right now we are living in a pandemic world, and now we can somewhat relate to the whole sanitization thing, but when I read this book I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. now I think everything is somehow normal these days. Now the book is interesting from the very beginning, but it gets even more interesting when a boy named Ollie shifts to her neighborhood, like right beside her house, and he shifts there with his own family, and there's a lot going on in their own family as well. And Ollie and Maddie somehow click and they become friends, and a lot of things happen. So yes, this book is really interesting, and it's very unpredictable. Like, you cannot predict the book at all. So definitely go for this book. The writing is again very simple. Nicola Yoon's writing is anyway very simple. I've read another book by her and her writing is definitely very beginner friendly. Next, I want to recommend Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert, and this is what the book looks like. Now there's also a movie on this story, that's why the cover of the book has what's her name? What's the name of this actress? I think Julia Roberts, right? I think Julia Roberts. So that's why you see her on the cover of the book. So the book is really interesting actually. So this book is about Elizabeth Gilbert, who is in her 30s, and she's living a good life. She lives in a big house. She has a husband who wants to start a family, but somehow she's not really in that space anymore. She feels very suffocated in this marriage and she wants to break free of it. So the divorce is definitely not very mutual. She has to fight a lot and she loses a lot of money, and then she gets into this fling which is also very emotionally draining for her, and after that she decides to go away somewhere to find herself, which is like a typical thing for the Americans, I guess. So she goes to Rome, India and Bali to find herself, and in every single place she has different experiences and she finds herself in different ways. For example, when she comes to India, she really understands this spiritual side of herself and how her spiritual side is also very important in her overall healing. So yeah, that's the story. I think the story is definitely very interesting. The writing style is also pretty decent. Overall, I really enjoyed this book, and I feel like if you are a beginner, then you will find this book very interesting as well. Next, I want to recommend you the book Wonder by RJ Palacio. This is what the book looks like. The book is so pretty and the story is so heartwarming. So the story is about this boy named August, and August has a very different face. So his face is very unconventional and he looks very different from the other kids, and because of which he has to go through so much humiliation, and other kids get scared of him, and it's just very painful to read all of that because, you know, he's such a little boy. So mainly the book is about kindness and how small acts of kindness can be so important to some people. And yeah, overall this book is very, very heartwarming. I don't really have many words to express how much I love this book. This book is really close to my heart, and I think everyone who has read this book will agree that this is one of the best books ever. The next book that I want to recommend you is a book that I have recommended to you in different videos in different ways, but I'll recommend it to you once more, and the book is Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. And first of all, the cover, I mean, I will just buy this book for the cover, but yeah, I will definitely give you more reasons to buy this book. So this book is about Frances and Aled. Now Frances is this girl who is always very much focused on her studies. She's all about her grades, but she is a fan of this podcast named Universe City, and Aled is the one who is actually the owner of that podcast. Like, he's the one who has made that podcast on YouTube, but Frances doesn't know that because on Universe City you don't really get to know who is making the podcast, right? I think I'm clear. Eventually Frances and Aled come together, they become friends, and so much happens, like so much. And this book is definitely very unpredictable, like you just wouldn't know what's going to happen. But overall the book is based on the theme of friendship, and when I say friendship, I mean strong friendship. And this book will make you realize how important it is to have a good friend, because that one friend is enough. You don't need like 100 friends, you just need one good friend, and you are good to go. So definitely give this book a read. And the writing is pretty simple, you know, like it's very simple, just the way people talk in general, no big words, nothing like that. An absolute gem. This book is, it just deserves to be read. My next recommendation is going to take you by surprise if you have followed my channel for a while, because I reviewed this book and I was really angry when I reviewed this book, and oh my god, I think I was a little too harsh, but I had my own reasons. The climax definitely really made me angry, but anyway, I feel this book is the most ideal book for beginners. I'll tell you the reason, but let me first show you the book. So the book is The Silent Patient. Yes, I am recommending this book. I reviewed this book and I told everyone to stay away from it, but if you are a beginner and if you haven't read that many books, then I will recommend this book to you, because this book is really interesting. So just for the sake of experimenting, I recommended this book to some of my friends who are like absolute beginners, who have not even read one single book. I recommended this book to them and all of them finished this book in 1 or 2 days, and they were so happy about it. They got so excited, they enjoyed the book, and they just got so excited that they finished the book, that now they're reading more and they keep asking me for the next book that they want to read. So that made me think that maybe this book made me angry because I have read a lot of other thrillers and maybe it just did not make me happy, but it made other people who were like complete beginners think that they can also be readers. And if a book can do this to someone, then I feel like this book is definitely worth it. So yes, I did say a lot of crap about this book, but now I am recommending this book to you, especially if you are a beginner. So yeah. My next recommendation is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, and when I finished reading this book, I was completely taken aback. Like, I had to take some time to breathe because I read this book in one sitting. That's how interesting this book is. Like, you will just finish it like that. First of all, this book is based on time travel and all of that. So one day Jason goes out and he's kidnapped, and then when he wakes up again, he's in a world where everything is very different. His wife is not his wife, his child has not even been born, and everything is very different. He's not a professor anymore, he is this big shot scientist in this world, and he just cannot figure what happens. So the story is about time travel, and then a lot of things happen, and this book will just drive you crazy. You will need to know what will happen in the end because it's just crazy. And as the story continues, it keeps getting crazier and crazier until the point where you are just breathless and you just want to know what is going to happen. But yeah, this book is worth it. Like, it's worth all the breathlessness, it's worth all the anxiety and nervousness that you are going to feel. Plus the language is so simple, it's very simple, not at all complicated. So yes, I highly recommend this book to you. My next recommendation is No Time for Goodbye by Linwood Barclay. This is the book. I got this book in the 99bookscart.com mystery box, and this one book made that entire mystery box worth it. Like, I've read around 7 books now and I have enjoyed 6 out of them, but this one, oh my god, I was talking about this one in my previous video as well, and this is like one of the best books that I have ever read in my entire life. This is like the ideal thriller. So this book is about Cynthia, who wakes up one morning and sees that her father, mother and brother are nowhere to be found. She just doesn't know where did they go. Were they murdered? Were they killed in an accident? What happened to them? No one knows. 25 years later, she's still looking for answers. What happened to her parents and brother? And now she is married to a really wonderful man, and she has a daughter, she has her family, but she still doesn't know what happened to her parents and brother. And as she's looking for answers, things get really scary and mysterious, and the book is like, it will just keep you on the edge. You will just need to know what will happen next, and the ending, it's just so satisfying. Like, overall, I've never read a book that is so well balanced, that is so good in every way possible, and the writing style is also pretty decent. I wouldn't say it's the most simplest of writings, but I feel like it's still good enough for a beginner to read it. I think if you have read around 5 to 6 books, you can definitely read this book as well. And last but not the least, I'm going to recommend you the book Fountains of Silence by Ruta Sepetys. Now, please don't be scared by the length and size of this book. I know it's a huge book, like it's huge. I get that. And you must be feeling like, which booktuber will recommend such a big book to a beginner who has not read anything? I know you must be feeling all of that. But the thing is, the font, if you look at the font of the book, see, it's so scattered. It's so scattered, and it has like really small chapters that are 2 or 3 pages long. Now the plot of the book is really interesting, that's why I'm recommending this. So the story is about Daniel and Anna, who are both really young, and Daniel is this American who has come to Spain for this holiday, and Anna is a hotel staff in housekeeping department, and they do fall in love. But the story is not just about them falling in love, the story is much more than that. So the Spain that we get to read about in this book is under the fascist dictatorship of General Franco, and he is like really scary, and everything in Spain is very weird. So there is this political thing that is that makes everything very complicated, but the love between Daniel and Anna is so heartwarming, and the entire story, it's just really mysterious but in a good way, and you will just want to know what will happen in the end. So there is the right amount of thrill, romance and everything else. So yes, that's why I highly recommend this book. And the writing is also pretty simple, it's not complicated at all, so that's why I'm recommending this book. And I also thought that it's very different, it's from the genre of historical fiction. So if you want to start reading historical fiction as well, then you can definitely start with this one, because this almost sounds like a contemporary book. And yeah, so definitely add this to your list. Alright guys, so that was all for today's video. I really hope that you all enjoyed the recommendations. I tried to add in different types of books so that you will be entertained, and all of these books are 100% interesting. Like, just have my word, they are really interesting and you will definitely enjoy them. Do check out the description box for all the links, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then definitely consider subscribing. It will mean a lot to me. And hit the bell icon so you are notified with all the further updates, and I'll see you in my next video. Until then, bye bye.